Leica L-mount is getting super affordable. Today I have two brand new lenses for Leica L-mount. This will fit your Leica cameras, your Lumix cameras and any other L-mount camera. I'm going to be reviewing the TTArtisan 40mm f2 L-mount, brand new, and the 7Artisans 35mm f1.8 L-mount, also brand new. Both of these lenses are also available in Sony E-mount and Nikon Z-mount. Join me as I take these various lenses with me on workshops in London and photo shoots in Poland, and we can see how good these lenses are they worth the money, and are they worth getting for your Leica camera or Lumix camera. You may recognize some of the places that I visit, and yeah, all full details of the lenses coming up, lots of sample photos and everything you need to know. Welcome, Matt here, as a YouTuber that's done over 550 videos, many of these lens reviews. I try to review all lenses available for Leica L-mount and M-mount, in addition to my usual model photography. Okay, before we jump into the example photos, let's take a closer look at the two lenses. On paper, 35mm 1.8, 40mm f2, they sound pretty similar, but the size difference and weight difference is quite dramatic. So which is going to be the best lens for you? So first, let's take a look at the 7Artisans. So this is the 7Artisans 35mm f1.8 Leica L-mount, and as I say, it feels a much more professional grade lens from the weight. You've got additional buttons. This lens has got a standard autofocus, manual focus on off switch, so you can quickly flick between the two, and an additional function button similar to other 7Artisans L-mount lenses. You've got a declicked aperture, good for video, not so good if you like clicky apertures. And obviously it's a focus by a wire lens. This lens does look more weather sealed. It's got an O-ring on the rear mount. So TTArtisan, so this is a 40mm f2. The main difference is this is ultra minimal, so you've got no switches at all, but you do now have a clicked aperture. Personally, I quite like a clicked aperture, but yeah, that's the main difference. There's no O-ring on this. This is a completely minimal kind of stripped back design. Both lenses come with lens hoods, as you can see here. And also they both reverse mount, which is great when you're trying to fit the lens in your camera bag and you want like a compact setup. Depending on the camera that you use, you may prefer one lens over the other. We'll talk about that at the end of this video. In terms of lens spec, both lenses are autofocus, both lenses are Leica L-mount. Both lenses focus to 0.4 meters. The diameter is different. The TTArtisan's got a 52mm filter thread compared to a 62mm filter thread on the 7Artisans. Optically, the TTArtisan is a much simpler design, 7 aperture blades and 9 elements in 6 groups compared to 11 aperture blades and 11 elements in 8 groups. In terms of weight, the TTArtisan weighs only 188 grams compared to 454 grams on the 7Artisans. This led me to use the lenses differently. I preferred using the small lens on small cameras and the big lens on big cameras just for the ergonomics. Okay, the important bit, let's see what these lenses can do. So let's look at sample photos, starting with the TTArtisan 40 f2 and vignetting. This lens does have vignetting wide open, but as you stop down, it's pretty much gone, and it's not bad compared to most of the lenses I review on this channel. You see from, I'd say 2.8, it's not really an issue. Sunstars, you can get kind of sunstar spray type things, but not the best lens for sunstars compared to M lenses that I normally shoot. Lens flare, it does flare probably more than a lot of the M lenses that I normally shoot. This can be nice, but if you use it to artistic effect. Lens bokeh, now it's great wide open, as you can see, really smooth around bokeh balls, but as you stop down, the lens go hexagonal, or what would it be, 7 blade lens bokeh, so you get quite jagged bokeh compared to most modern lenses which now have more aperture blades. Lens sharpness, it's good enough wide open for portraits, but you can see the corners are pretty soft. If you zoom in on this landscape, you can see central sharpness is pretty good, but it does improve as you stop down. But in low light, it depends on the autofocus. I found sometimes the autofocus missed, but on this shot it was kind of spot on, and the sharpness was more than good enough, and this is wide open at f2, so I'd say it's as much the autofocus as it is the lens optics. Here the edges somehow seem sharper than the center. I'm not sure if that's a characteristic of this lens, but yeah, plenty of fine detail at the edges of this poster shot that I photographed. Lens colours, very natural looking, not overly saturated and not too bland looking either. These are shot during one of my workshops in London, and you can see okay out of camera, but I had a Mr. Leica preset just to give the photos a bit more pop, and you're not going to post raw files straight out of camera anyway, so you're always going to give a bit more saturation as if you're shooting JPEGs. Okay, what about for black and white? If you're a regular viewer, you know I'm a black and white guy. I went to Aperture and the Camera Museum in London, chatting to the guys. I had one of my students with me. We were kitting out her Hasselblad 907X, so they were helping us out. We got a bag from them. While I was there, I took some sample photos. You can see raw images on the left, and then with my Mr. Leica black and white preset added on the right. This is my new Leica SL2S preset pack. I've tried to design them to be a bit more filmic and less digital, and that really suits my my palette. When as a film shooter, I like to make my digital photos look less digital. Now, as you know, I'm a portrait shooter, so here's just a few quick portraits. You can follow me on Instagram, mrleica.com, if you're interested in model photography. These are shot on the 40mm all wide open f2, and then I just did my raw plus Mr. Leica preset as mentioned, and yeah, very happy with the results, no complaints. Okay, next let's look at sample photos from the 7Artisans 35mm f1.8. First, lens vignetting. There's a bit of vignetting at 1.8, but not that much, and then it's pretty much gone. And at kind of real world testing, like the sky, I didn't really see much at all. Sun stars, again, it's more of a lens sun spray than a sun star, so not brilliant for sun stars. Less lens flare than the TTArtisan, but there is still some if you get the angle just right. Lens bokeh is beautiful on this lens, wide open, and then the difference between the TTArtisan, even when you stop this lens down, you still retain the round bokeh balls, which is beautiful. So yeah, this is definitely better if you like your round bokeh. Lens sharpness. So as you can see in the center wide open, you get a little bit of glow, but still retains the sharpness wide open at 1.8. So quite nice for portraits, although it will sharpen up by say 2.8 f4 5.6 like all lenses, but center sharpness at infinity is already very good, as are the corners. Colors, again, nice colors after camera. Again, this was during I had two workshops with the same lady in London, so this time we were walking around Chelsea, and yeah, I was like a tourist taking photos while helping her with her camera. You can see colors are nice after camera, and then with a preset you get a bit more pop, as mentioned with the TTArtisan. I'd say maybe slightly warmer with this lens than the TTArtisan. What about black and white? So black and white, we headed down the Thames to do some photos. I was shooting film. You might see that in my future Leica M4 video to come, and then also the 35 1.8 from 7Artisans. You can get great images. This is a sharp lens, so if you like your pixel peeping, you're definitely going to like this one. I was getting great results out of camera, and then I slapped on one of my Mr. Leica presets, and they really kind of popped. So yeah, I mean, it did help that the location was really nice, and it was quite a photogenic place. I highly recommend getting an Uber ride along the Thames if you've never done it. Great for photos. And portraits, as mentioned, I'm a portrait guy, so this time this is another workshop, this time again in London with Hannah. And you can see there I got the lens in shot to try to show you that I was using that lens. And then you might see the lighting in another one of my videos showing how I lit this, but yeah, very happy with the results, and it gives very soft shallow depth of field with the 1.8 maximum aperture. In terms of prices, both lenses are pretty much brand new or only recently available, especially in Alamount. Thanks to TTArtisan and 7Artisans for sending me both lenses to review. Price wise, I can put links below to both. The TTArtisan is around $168 and the 7Artisan lens is $299, but if you buy in the the first 2 weeks of seeing this video, you can get $15 off before the end of October. Okay, so you saw the sample photos. What were your thoughts? Let me know in the comments. And what is my verdict? You can probably clearly see that the 7Artisans lens is perhaps a more professional grade lens, a bit more of a serious photography lens if you want to really get amazing image quality. They mention on their website that this is optimized for 60 megapixel sensors, so they're really aiming for that high-end optical performance. You can see in these test photos when I compared both lenses side by side, In the corners, the 7Artisans 35 1.8 easily beats the TTArtisan 40 f2, and again in the center, the 35 f1.8 is a clear win optically compared to the 40 f2. So knowing what we now know, we know that the 35mm 7Artisans lens is a much higher performing lens than the TTArtisan. So which one did I like and which one did I use? I used of course, the smaller lens. So although I had both lenses, I also had a choice of cameras to use. So you can use these lenses on any L-mount cameras. The cameras I had to choose from, or some of the ones I've pulled out, like a CL, which is APS-C, like a SL series, in this case it's the SL2S because you can see the black writing. And then you've got full frame cameras like Lumix S5s, Lumix S9. So because I like small lenses, I wanted to pair a small lens to a small camera. So for my Poland trip, as you saw, I paired the TTArtisan. I paired the TTArtisan 40mm f2. I didn't even bother taking the lens hood on the Leica CL, and I shot all my portraits with the TTArtisan 40 f2 with a 1.5 crop. That gives me around 60mm 2.8 equivalent, and that's perfect for kind of female portraits in terms of no distortion. And the size and weight is just amazing. It fits in your pocket perfectly. So that's great if you're happy with APS-C sensor. Because this lens is full frame, you may prefer a compact full frame L-mount camera such as the Lumix S9. Now I do need to do another video on this, so subscribe if you want to see that. I did make my initial thoughts video, but it's been some months since I've owned this camera, so I need to post an update. Now the camera looks slightly bigger. If you saw my video on my Lumix S9 rig, I rig it out with a small rig cage and then various mounts and things to adapt it to video. But the size again is fantastic. So I was using this lens mostly on the S9 and the Leica CL. Now for the big lens, I wanted a bigger, more sturdier, better ergonomics camera. So for the 7Artisans 35 1.8, I used it on the Leica SL2S. This lens works well on a big camera. If you're used to big lenses from your other mirrorless cameras, this is probably a normal size lens to you. Where for me, I'm used to rangefinder cameras, so I prefer smaller, lighter lenses such as the TTArtisan. So if you like big lenses and you want the maximum performance, I'd recommend the 7Artisans. And I'd say there's money off at the moment if you get it within the next 2 weeks, the end of October. If you're happy with slightly lower performance, let's say you can work with a softer lens, say for female portraits as I shoot, then my choice would be the TTArtisan 40 f2. I have done videos already on these sister lenses for both of these. I'll put links on the screen next for the TTArtisan 75 f2. That's an amazing performer, especially for portraits, and that lens is really sharp. The 75 is fantastic. And also the 7Artisans 85mm f1.8. Check out those videos next. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. And thanks as always to my amazing patrons.